Welcome to Module 5 on other forms of traditional healing, where we'll continue our examination of ethnomedical practices. First, we're going to begin with Chapter 3 in Module 5, Part 1, Chapter 3 in the Kinsley book. So certainly and hopefully you've read the chapter. My intention here is just to sort of hit some of the highlights and comment on some of what you read. Kinsley begins with a discussion of the curandero, or curandera, be ending in an O if it's a male and A if it's a female, and that would be a traditional folk healer in Central and South America. So the ethnomedical practitioner in Central and South America would be called a curandero or curandera. They use a variety of different methods in their healing, including shamanistic sort of spiritual travels, shamanistic trance, divination, which is some sort of ritual that gives you access to information you ordinarily wouldn't have access to, the use of herbs and rituals of various sorts. Most problems that they have, certainly many of them, are thought to be caused by sorcery, which is magic done with the intent to cause harm, or malicious spirits. In Peru, the healer, the curandero, and his patients both ingest an entheogen, is actually the proper ethnomedical term, entheogen, E-N-T-H-E-O-G-E-N, any psychoactive substance that induces a spiritual or mystical experience. So in Peru, both the healer and the patient ingest a hallucinogenic drink, Trichoceres pachanoi, it's called in Peru, and it's thought that it's the power of the ingredients of the substance that they're ingesting that actually allows them to contact the spirit world. In Peru, the healer will set up a special mesa, which is just Spanish for table, or an altar of some sort, and it sort of acts like a radio receiver, and they speak of actually playing the mesa and tuning the mesa to the signals of the spirit world. And at some point there's a struggle whereby the curandero actually fights the spirit world on behalf of his patient. Another interesting case you read about is a Muslim healer in Delhi, that's north central India. The term Baba was used to refer to him. That's just an honorific, meaning something like father. And it's reported that most of the problems that this individual sees, he diagnoses as demon possession. There's a variety of spirits that are recognized in traditional Islam, including all sorts of angelic beings, satanic beings, and these sort of trickster spirits called jinn, J-I-N-N. And it's thought that it's the jinn that's causing most of the problems here. As far as what might actually be the cause of these problems, it's thought that a sorcerer might actually capture a jinn and use it for his own selfish purposes. It's also thought that jinn, since they're trickster spirits, might just attack someone randomly. But it's noted that good moral behavior is a good defense. So here we see a little social control mechanism. Basically, behave yourself, do what you're supposed to do, and you won't get sick. As far as healing, healing involves invoking one of the 99 names of Allah that you find in the Quran, Allah the Merciful, Allah the Beneficent, and so forth. And they also use various medicines and verses from the Quran. And the healer, of course, not surprisingly, attributes all of his power to Allah. Then you read a little bit about a healer among the Kalahari Kung, sometimes called the Kung Bushmen, in southern Africa. Now we're going to talk a bit more about the Kung in our discussion of Kinsley chapter 4, which is in the next video. But here, just a few words. According to the Kung, everyone possesses a certain healing power called num, N-U-M, but it must be agitated properly. It must be made to quote-unquote boil over. In other words, it must be activated. And when it's activated, then the individual will enter an altered state of consciousness called Kia, K-I-A, in which healing can occur. There's a general idea among the Kung that sometimes the spirit world simply wants a human soul, and the healer will do all he can, he or she. By the way, females are prominent healers in the Kung culture, and it's thought that the spirit world will often win these fights. They will win these battles, and the healers just say, well, they do all they can, but if the spirits, if the gods want a human, if they want their soul, then they're going to take it. And of course, that means the human would die. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that, as I said, in the next video. They discuss a healer in Ethiopia, where it's thought that people can be afflicted by the so-called czar spirits. And these are basically just malevolent entities of some sort. We might just call them demonic spirits, demonic entities. The individual they discuss, Abba Wolde Tensei, apparently learned his healing from his father, and his is sort of an interesting case whereby he's not only a traditional healer, he's also an ordained priest in the Ethiopian Orthodox Church. It's just a special branch of the Eastern Orthodox Church. And no doubt this lends to his healing credibility. An interesting passage is found at the bottom of page 31. He also displayed an air of absolute confidence in his own diagnostic and healing abilities. In almost all cases, not surprisingly, his patients were diagnosed as having spirit-inflicted diseases. Well, two things there. Number one, we see the confidence in the worldview that must be present in both the healer and the patient for psychotherapeutic healing of this sort to take place. And then secondly, we are dealing once again with possession by some malevolent entity, which calls for an exorcism. Again, certainly a psychotherapeutic context for healing. It's noted that his healing takes place in ceremonies in a large room where there may be a couple hundred people present. You also read about the crutches and the canes that people who received healing leave behind. Apparently there's also a jar of worms that supposedly represents all the spirits he's exorcised. Anyway, again, just the sort of trappings you would expect to be present to give people the sort of confidence they need to believe that healing is going to take place. And apparently, from what is said in the chapter, this individual is quite successful, as very few people return for follow-up treatment. You also read about a woman named Maria Sabina, a Mazatec healer that's in Mexico, and there they ingest mushrooms to assist them in their healing, and it is under the influence of these mushrooms that they actually enter the spirit world and actually see mushroom spirits. Sometimes they're guided to certain places where they may find herbs and other plants that may help them with healing. For example, you may recall reading that when she was young, her uncle became very sick, and she ingested mushrooms, and in a trance state, the mushrooms themselves, and at one point it says they appear as children. The mushrooms themselves appeared and took her to a certain place where this special herb grew. Later, she actually went there, picked some of these herbs, made a medicine, and healed her uncle. So here they're very much working with the mushroom and the mushroom spirits, so to speak, to bring about healing. There's an interesting syncretism that you read about here. Syncretism, S-Y-N-C-R-E-T-I-S-M. Syncretism occurs when you take a trait from one culture and you combine it with a trait from another culture to create a totally new trait. Syncretism. And we have that here when traditional beliefs and traditional ideologies regarding the mushroom were syncretized or combined and mixed with Christian ideas of the Eucharist. particularly the Catholic notion of transubstantiation. And you saw that at the bottom of page 34. The cult of the sacred mushroom no doubt predates Christianity in Mexico, but has become suffused with Christian symbolism over the centuries. A central legend concerning the holiness of the mushroom says that the mushrooms initially sprouted where Jesus once walked, and drops of his blood fell to the ground. To ingest the mushroom is to be infused with sacrality, to perform a kind of Eucharist, in which the celebrant partakes of Christ's blood and is transported to the spirit world. Often, traditional ideologies and traditional practices will have, let's say, more mainstream notions grafted onto them to lend to their legitimacy and their power. And perhaps that's what we saw here. So syncretism often empowers indigenous practices.